Hello, designers. I'd like to talk to you about setting up your poster in Illustrator as well as importing fonts that you may not already have on your system. So let's go ahead and look at our Travel One Modernist Travel Poster required specs. So we're going to need an 11 by 17 print file that is portrait format only. It must have a border within the document. The content must be the setting of your novel. You can use a maximum of 7 colors in the supplied color scheme. You can only use colors from the supplied color scheme. That's these down here. Okay. And you can only use fonts from the list here below. And you may use found images, sketches, or custom photos that you shot yourself. So if you haven't seen this document, this is the PDF and it's on the assignment page where it says you can download the PDF of this document here. It's just a helpful document because it has links to fonts that aren't available in the Adobe font suite, which I'll show you in just a minute. And it also has samples of the colors that are listed in the assignment sheet, so you can have a quick reference there. So first things first, let's go ahead and set up this 11 by 17 document. So you're going to go to Adobe, New File. You want to go to Print because it says you want a print profile document. And over here we can just type in, we'll change our measurement units to inches. We'll go to 11, and then I'm going to tab down to 17. We need a portrait orientation, and one artboard is good. I don't think we need bleeds right now because we're not going to be printing this document, so we'll just leave everything else okay and hit create. Great. So it says that we need a border within the document, so we can easily create that by using our rectangle tool, which is right here. And we can make an outside border any color you want, or you can make a white border, and you can just click and drag to create that. If you want to get more technical, you can go ahead and use your grid, which is Command quote, to show that, to make sure that everything's lined up. You can also use the grid tool and create your own guides. I can also go to over here to the align area and choose align to artboard and then hit center vertical and center horizontal. And now I know it's centered. So I'm going to hit Command quote to get rid of that grid. And yeah, there you go. So let's give us, yeah, I can leave this with let's do no fill. And we'll just give it a black stroke for now. But note that that is going to count as one of the colors on our document. So I can lock this layer, and now it's not going to move if I accidentally grab it, and I'll hit create a new layer. Great. So I may want a section down here at the bottom that has some type in it. This is optional. It's definitely not required. So I'll go ahead and draw another rectangle. This time I will give it a color, no stroke, because most of the images that we saw did not have strokes, did they? So we're going to stay away from using that black stroke. There we go. So we'll give it a red fill for now. And, you know, maybe I'll just mess with this later. But let's set up our colors. So we can go into swatches. And let me just move our properties panel so we have some more room here. And color. Great. So in our document, let's look at that one more time. If I wanted to use this red down here, it says that my cyan value is 0, my magenta is 100, my yellow is 100, and my black is 30. So that's 0, 100, 100, 30. So up here, I'm just going to go like this. Type in 0, tab 100, tab 100, tab 30, and that's that perfect red, right? So let's make a new folder down here, new color group. We'll call this Travel Poster. Hit OK. And now it has this perfect red in there that we found on our document specs. And you can go through and you can pick the other 5 colors you'd want, or you can use 2 colors if you want. I mean, you can get really crazy and try to take that on. But I recommend making a color group here. You can also create a color library right here. You can make a new one. Hit this plus button here. Oops, I'm sorry, that's not the one. Go back to the home and hit create new library. We can call it travel poster and hit create. Oops, I hit the R a bunch of times, so that's okay. And then I can just add the swatch to my fill color there. So the swatches, these are only going to be present in this one document. These swatches are not going to travel across other documents, these color groups here. However, the libraries will travel through other documents. I mean, they will be accessible when you open other files, and they'll also be accessible if you open other programs of Adobe, whereas these swatches are specific. The swatch library is specific to this one document here. Okay, I hope that makes sense. All right. So we started our swatch group and our library. We started our document. Now let's go ahead and add some text. So we're going to go over working with text way more extensively in the next assignment. But for now, I'd like you to just, if you want to use it, this is how you do it. So here's our type tool here. You can just click. With this type tool, you can just click one time and start typing. You're going to notice there's some placeholder text here that's Latin right there. So that just automatically does it. The other thing you can do is you can, if you want to specify an area where your type is going to be, you can click and drag a type window. So it's not going to extend past that area. All right. It does automatically fill it with filler text. Oops, let me go ahead and lock that layer now, this background layer here. There we go. And grab that text. Okay, great. Now I don't want a paragraph. I just want one giant word. So I'm going to go ahead and, sorry, clicking all around. Try that again. Use my type tool. Come on. Sorry, I'm having some issues. Let me try it one more time. Ay, again. Here we go. Come on. There we go. Okay. Whew. I'm going to do all caps and type the word Africa. It's very tiny, so let's make it bigger. Over here on our properties panel is where you'll see your character settings. Okay. You can use the drop-down menu to get as big as 72 points, or you can type in manually. There we go, nice and big. And I'm going to change my paragraph alignment to center for now. And that's good for now. I got to see what it looks like once I use some of my special fonts. So here is your list of fonts right here under the character panel. And it's going to load all the fonts that are on your system with this font thing here. You can also click Find More, and this is going to activate the Adobe Font Library. That is a very slow way of finding more fonts, so I don't recommend doing that. I also do not recommend ever going to type and then choosing the second option here, font. For some reason, it just sends your software into spinning pinwheel death mode. It takes forever to load, so don't use that. What I do like to use is the Adobe Fonts website. So let me bring that up for you. So it's just fonts.adobe.com, or you can just Google Adobe Fonts and you'll see it there. And from here, we can type in a special font that if we know the name of it. We can also type in words like retro and see what happens when we hit the search button. So here's some retro fonts to choose from. None of these fonts are on your list, but there's something else that's really cool here. We can click on font packs, and this is really fun. These are made by typographers or typography businesses. And so this one's called Retroactive. This is a retro glamping font book. This one's called Metaverse Mix. But I'm going to click on this one to just view the pack. And then from here, it has all these beautiful retro fonts. You can choose all of them. You can also download some Adobe stock templates to create these retro logos. But then you can go down here and look at them individually. You can click on View Family. And then from the family, this only has one font in the family, so it's not like bold or anything. And here's where you can activate or deactivate the font. So I already have it activated. I must like Fenway Park. Let's try another one. Trade Gothic is a font that's in your list, so we can go on there. And if it has a bunch of fonts in the family, like this one has a ton, then you can just go to Activate Fonts here, and you can choose which ones you want to activate. Okay, really great. So you'll notice that in some of your assignment specs in the future, I might say something like you can use any of the fonts in the retro glamping font pack. And then from there, you know how to find that. That's under the font packs, and you just search for, you know, one of the keywords. So I'm going to use a font called, I'm looking for a font called Lubalin. It's not one of the fonts for this assignment, but it is one for another assignment that we have. So I'm just going to search for that and notice that it is not available on the Adobe site. So then I like to go to a little site called Fonts Geek, and I've had a lot of luck with this with this website. It has free fonts for downloading. Now, when you download free fonts like this, you can't use them for commercial work, meaning you can't use it for a client because you didn't pay for this font, and that's just not cool. So that's some graphic design ethics right there. But you can use it for yourself and for your assignments and your portfolio. That's totally okay. So I'm going to type in Lubalin. I'm sorry, that's going to change what I see here. Let me look at, I'm going to type in up here in the search. Now we'll get it. Lubalin, go. Great. And these are the options here. So I can just hit the download button and it'll download to my hard drive. So now if I'm on a Mac, I need to double click that zipped file to unzip it. And then I'm going to go into Font Book. If I'm on a PC, usually you can just right click on that and there'll be an option that says install font and you hit yes. On a Mac, you go to Font Book and you just click on the little plus icon. Where are you? I don't see it. So in that case, I can just dump it from my downloads folder and just drop it in and it'll add it automatically. Now, whenever you are downloading something, a font from the web, it's going to try to verify this font, or validate it, I mean. I can hit install, and then it'll pop up with any errors. Sometimes it'll say, you can't trust this font. And when it says that, you get that thing out of there. Do not install that font. It could be corrupt, could mess up your system. It could just, you know, something not good for your computer. So now it's in there. So either way, whether I'm activating a font from the Adobe font website and I hit the activate font right here button, or if I just uploaded something to FontBook on a Mac, it's going to instantly be available to me in Illustrator or Photoshop or InDesign. So that's really nice. So I just got to wait for the wheel to stop spinning. And now I can access that font in my characters panel. So I am going to select that text to bring up the characters panel in the properties panel there. And from here, I can type in Lubalin to jump to it, and there they are. So that's great. So I can, we'll try regular. And obviously that's a humongous font now. So let me reduce it. I can just hit these down arrows. Boop, 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 boop. So if you see a little plus button down, a little plus sign in the bottom of your text box, that means that you have overflowing font. So that's not good. You gotta fix that and just change the size of your font or change the size of your text box itself. Keep going, get that A. Okay, great, got that A in there. So now I do not recommend for this assignment specifically to stretch your text to make it fit, like to manipulate it that way. That's not okay. You don't want to distort it in any way. Okay, they didn't do that back then because they were working with printing presses, and printing presses don't distort font. They just use the font sizes that they have, right? They don't elongate it or anything like that. The other thing that you can do though is you can adjust your kerning and your leading. So your leading is the space between lines and the kerning is the space between letters. So you can just place your cursor, and here in the characters panel, in the more options area there, come on, there we go. This is where you can adjust your tracking right here. I'm sorry, not your tracking, your kerning. You can do it by the drop-down menu, or you can go like this with your arrow key. There we go. And then let me show you one more thing, which is pretty cool. So there's this true type tool here. And this is special for Illustrator, the touch type tool, excuse me. So with the touch type tool, you can click on any letter here and you can start to adjust it manually without affecting all the other letters. So look, I can move it up and down. It's really neat, and it makes it so that it is still live text. So I can just go in here and manually nudge things in and out, and it moves the letters after that one as well. So that's a really quick and easy and amazing way to change your text in Illustrator. You can also, just for fun, I'll show you some of the other cool things about it. You can grab a corner and stretch it, which we're not doing for this assignment, remember, but just know that it's there. You can also shrink it by hitting that other corner. Each corner does something different, right? This one's gonna elongate it sideways, make it wider. And then there's a widget up on the top for rotating. So you can rotate your text as well. All right. All right. And that's all I have to show you.